President Assad's senior advisor, Bouthaina Shaaban, good evening to you. The message, as you heard there, was clear from the international community. Will President Assad step down to stop this war and stop the bloodshed?
I don't think it is the war is about President Assad stepping down. I think the war is about the destruction of Syria, and stopping the conflict, it has to be these parties who are speaking today who should tell their agents in the region to stop arming, financing and sending terrorists into Syria. What John Kerry and William Hague said today is a typically colonial attitude. Is this democracy? To ask the president of another country to step down? Are they representative of the Syrian people? Or they should put a mechanism for a political process where the Syrian people decide their future? I was amazed to hear them speak in this language and in this way. You know, neo-colonialism newly revisiting us.
Well, you say this is not about Assad. It's also not just about terrorists, is it? This did not begin as a terrorist movement. It began as an expression of self-determination by the people of Syria who'd had enough of 40 years of the same family governing your country. And it was your decision to violently crush that movement that led to this civil war.
I think it is not the right of people who live abroad to decide how this war started, and it is not a civil war. We have 83 nationalities who are fighting in Syria. Many Shishian, Saudis, Tunisian, Libyans, you know, many people, Saudis from many other nationalities are killed in Syria.
Can I just clarify then? Are you saying that every single person who is protesting against President Assad is a terrorist? Is that what you're now saying?
No, this is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Syria has been a victim for two things. First, terrorism, and then this horrifying media campaign that has been causing the Syrian people bloodshed. Remember the chemical on the 21st of August, where all Western media was saying President Assad used chemical against his people. And now the study of a very respectable Massachusetts center in the United States saying it is impossible that it could have been the government, and it has proven that it was these terrorists who used the chemical. So it's enough of these circulations without any verification, without making sure what they're talking about.
What do you do with your detainees? What does the Syrian government do with its prisoners?
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly.
What do you do with your detainees in Syria? Do you starve them? Do they end up looking like emaciated Belsen victims? Do you gouge out their eyes? Do you eventually kill them?
Well, we have been trying in Syria to stop this terrorism coming to our country. We have been trying to convince the international community that it's very important to have the will to stop this Wahhabi extremist thinking.
Apologies, you're not answering the question. You're very well aware, I'm sure, that only this week we saw evidence of 11,000 victims of what appeared to be Syrian government detainees who had been killed and tortured. I'm asking you a simple question. What do you do with your detainees?
Listen, I really don't think it is very intelligent to adopt these things and say evidence. These pictures you have seen, they will prove that they have been done by the terrorists. You have to be in Syria to see what is happening. You can't just take all these lies that are fabricated by people who are targeting Syria, targeting our identity, targeting Christians in Syria, targeting Muslims, targeting women, children. I think it is absolutely, obligatory on the Western world to stop and think and deal with Syria as they deal with their own countries, with respect, with trying at least to know the truth before you utter. At least your colleagues were saying alleged pictures, alleged, and you said this is the evidence that the Syrian government has been killing its people. How do you know? I have been living in Syria for the last 3 years. I know what's happening to women.
Well, have you been living in Aleppo and places that have been bombed by the Syrian government? I'm intrigued to find out exactly where you would find 11,000 victims to fabricate this evidence outside of Syria. But let's return to the talks in Montreux and on to Geneva. Will you meet face-to-face members of the Syrian opposition to try to come to some sort of way forward, if at the very least humanitarian corridors to allow aid into the most needy in your country?
You know, what is happening in Syria is really horrifying. What's happening to Christians? I mean, isn't the Western world Christian? Don't you care about Christian, about the language of Christ, about 11 nuns being kidnapped, about thousands of women being raped, about thousands of people being killed? Why don't you see what's happening in Syria before announcing what's happening in Syria, and before
are you prepared to
asking
meet then
the system in Syria to do something?
So are you prepared to meet the Syrian opposition face to face on Friday? Will you give that commitment this evening?
You know the Syrian opposition? I know them. This does not represent a fraction of the genuine national Syrian opposition. These people have been out of Syria for 30 years. They don't know what's happening in Syria. They have no family in Syria. They have nobody in Syria.
Is that a no?
Yet,
will you not be meeting them face to face?
Listen, Anne. Let me finish. But because we care about our country, we are coming to try in the hope that an international will care about what's happening in our country and would stop this. We will sit through the UN. We will talk. But the one thing that will save Syria is for every Syrian to put Syria and the people of Syria above everything else, not to be paid by foreign agents and ask for a military strike against their own country. This is a treason in every dictionary in the world.
I think everyone would like to see the Syrian people put at the forefront of this argument. But Bouthaina Shaaban, President Assad's senior advisor, joining us there from Montreux. Thank you.
Thank you.